Who is Taylah Spackman?
Oh.
It's a tough one for someone that's doing their first podcast, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. I'd like to describe myself as being quite strong-headed. You know, she doesn't let anyone get in the way of her or anything get in the way of her. If you've got a goal to achieve, there's really nothing in your way, standing in your way to achieve that.
Before we start this episode of Sports Legends with Bevo, a shout out to two of our sponsors, Ryan Bridges from Elders Goolwa and also Steve Chapman from Victor Harbour Motor Co. Make sure you see both those guys if you're looking to buy a car or buy a house or sell a car or sell a house. You'll see their details up on the screen now. Obviously two local legends, so make sure you get behind them and really appreciate their support. Well, last year she broke history winning the 70-metre Bay Sheffield and the main one, the 120-metre Bay Sheffield. Taylah Spackman, welcome to Sports Legends with Bevo.
Thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here, my first podcast.
Yes, I can't believe that. We spoke about this before because you speak so well and obviously you've done some interviews in the past as well. But tell us about actually winning the Bay, what it felt like to you and actually, crossing that finish line, the feeling as well.
I guess it's all just a blur now. Like, it was such a dream come true, and it seemed so impossible yet possible. It's so hard to describe. I can't really remember either of the final races. They're sort of just a blur now, but it's just something I never thought. I guess I never imagined it. It's just, I still can't believe it, and it's just, I don't know. I don't think it's a feeling I'll ever get used to. It's just, insane.
And we spoke about this before. I couldn't believe this as well. It was actually your first Bay. And like I said, you won the 70-metre, which we'll get to in a moment, and the actual Bay itself, which not many people have done. Does that make it even more special for you?
Yeah, definitely. Just coming along, even in my first ever, I guess, professional season, and just coming and winning both of them was just something, I guess, I'd never imagined. And, to win one, let alone both, is just, something, it'll be hard to replicate. But it's something I'd never imagined. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
And let's go back to the night before winning the 70.
Yeah.
What that was like, and then we'll get to the Bay in a minute as well.
Yeah. So it's all, as I said, just a blur. But I guess, getting through to that 70 final was pretty special. I had, my coach and my closest family around me, apart from my mum. But I guess it was something I didn't really expect. I'd just come into the scene of the professional racing. I didn't really know what to expect. I was just still getting used to the handicapping. I was still getting used to the vibe. Everyone was always so welcoming, and it was pretty, sick being in the final. But again, I didn't really know what to expect. We did this cool, I don't know what it's called. We all walked to the end, and they did the introductions, and I'd done that before at Port, but just having like an audience around us and being able to run down was special in itself, and being able to race those girls, like, they're all such fantastic girls, and the flames at the end of the race was, I don't know, it was a magical night. Like, it was so special. And had it just been that, and I hadn't run the next day, that would have been insane in itself. Like, that was something you can't really replicate. And then I replicated it the next day. It was so cool.
I remember just watching back the replay today before this interview, and I remember Terry saying, I think that was your sixth race going into the actual final as well for the Bay, the 120, the big one, on the final night. And, a lot of people were tipping Brie Masters to win it. Everyone knows her record making the Olympics and what have you. But then going into the final, what was it like to actually be competing against the likes of Brie, and then knowing that you'd actually beaten her, and again crossing that finish line and having won the night before and then doing it again on the second night?
Yeah, well, I didn't know initially. Like, I heard Terry, so at the end of the 120, I heard Terry call it. He's like, Taylah Spackman. And I'm like, oh, like, did I actually win? The margins were so close. So I was sort of on, for the next minute or so after that, I was sort of on edge. I was like, did I actually win it? Like, do I celebrate? Like, is this actually happening right now? I was sort of also in shock. Like, Brie was the favourite, and I guess there'd been a lot of media around that. And I always had in my head, like, Brie's an Olympian. Like, I've always looked up to this woman. Like, I just thought she's going to beat me. Like, it was just sort of ingrained in my head. But I knew it was, me in that lane. It was my race. I had the only thing I could do was me versus me. Like, I know what I'm capable of, and I just pushed to the end, and that's what got me through. And I sort of dipped and sort of lost my technique at the end there, but I guess that's what got me the win in the end. And super grateful for that opportunity, even just to race her. Like, that was sick. Like, and I guess it was kind of cool that it was also such a close finish as well. But yes, definitely didn't expect that. I thought it was amazing that I could, race her and those girls, and it was just such a great opportunity in itself.
And the actual, like you mentioned before, the buzz and the atmosphere, I was lucky enough to MC it for those couple of days. And then the year before was the first time I'd done the Bay in 2023, being involved, doing interviews with the athletes post-race. And it's just such an amazing event. I remember going as a kid along and just, thinking one day I'd love to be, maybe not so much an athlete because I'm not an athlete like yourself, but just be involved in the media side of it. And then you're right though, it's just such a great buzz, isn't it? So to actually to not only win the 70 but win the actual Bay as well, it's just incredible for you. And I can imagine it'd be pretty big post celebrations afterwards.
Yeah, well, I had a few drinks. I guess it was Christmas just before that and Boxing Day, and I didn't really drink just in anticipation for it because I was like, oh, you know what? Because I'd been listed as one of the favourites, and I was like, you know what? Let's just take it a bit easier leading up to it. I had pudding and like a few chockies and stuff, but I didn't go crazy with the drinks. And I guess I was just like, okay, let's just put it all out there and prep pretty well. And I did, and it worked out well for me. And so I guess in celebration that night we went out to, I forgot what it's called, the hotel directly across from Collie.
The Pier Hotel?
Yeah, the Pier. Yeah. The Pier. And yeah, we had a few bottles of champagne and it was quite nice. As I said, my second family, the Ward family, helped support me that day, and we just celebrated hard with them and the Camerons, and it was such a great night. It was so fun. Like, I could, like, if I wanted to recreate it in a better way, I couldn't do that. It was just
incredible.
Amazing.
Did it give you extra confidence as well, knowing you'd won the 70 going into the final? And I guess tell us a bit more about your actual strategy going into the Bay final.
Yeah, so I wouldn't say it gave me confidence because I knew the likelihood of me winning both the 70 and the 120 was quite low. And the only few people had done it before in history. So I was like, oh, okay, that's my win. That's cool. Like, let's go and just run this 120 as fast as I can, because I had already run 3 races, and my body was fatigued the next day. I had a tiny bit of a niggle in my knee. I was just like, let's just do what we can, and my recovery, I guess I have a whoop, but I couldn't see my recovery because I left my whoop at the reserve that day, but I don't think I got much sleep because obviously the final was at 9 p.m. the night before, and then I guess I had to go home, have dinner, settle down, and then be back. I think it was by midday, and I live an hour away, so I guess that cut into sleeping time, and I could not settle down for the life of me. Like, I was like, it was my sister and I at home that night, and I was like, I can't settle, like I won't be able to sleep, and she's just like, just do what you can. And I was texting my mum, who was also in another continent at the time, and she's like, yeah, just do what you can. You've done so well, and just try and settle. And I think it probably would have been like 5 or 6 hours of sleep that I got. And I was purely on adrenaline the next day. I was like, just smash it out. But obviously it worked out for the best.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Incredible. No, I absolutely love that story. And let's go back to where it all began for you, because you mentioned before, Taylah, that you had a sister as well that was into sprinting. And was that sort of how you first got into it, through her, or was there another influence as well in the family?
I guess my parents were always, quite sporty growing up when they were sort of my age. And they really encouraged us to be quite as active as we could be. In saying that, though, they never really, they pushed us and encouraged us, but never really forced anything on us, which was the greatest blessing. We started athletics. I grew up in country New South Wales, and we both started little athletics at that time. And it was funny because I got awarded the participation award, and and my sister actually told me at the time, we were so young, like we would have been like 5 and 7 respectively, me and my sister, and I remember my mum recalls her saying, "Oh, that's because you're not very good." But no, now she's like, she's just obviously very young, and like now she's literally one of my biggest supports. But yeah, continuing on through that, we sort of moved states as well to SA. And then when I was probably about 10, I got back into it because I missed it. Like, athletics is such a fun sport, you know, there's jumping, throwing, sprinting, like what isn't there to do?
Cross country.
Yeah, maybe not for me, for my sister. Yeah, and then we just continued through that. And I guess what I enjoyed most about that was just the competition and encouragement, and, you know, like it was just so fun to be in. And I did have, you know, a great support network then. I've got a great support network now, and it was cool just having, you know, Sally Pearson was big then, and she was one of my biggest I guess motivators. So like yeah, just like I guess wanting to walk in her shoes one day. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Kind of motivated.
So she was like your idol.
Yeah. When I was really young.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Have you met Sally as well?
I haven't met Sally, unfortunately. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, even looking back now, like that was a good choice because yeah, she was insane. Like, you know, coming first at the Olympics as an Australian hurdler, like that's sick.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So sprinting was always your main, I guess, thing that you had the biggest strength in, or?
Yeah. I did, I guess, go to national, like the first and only ever nationals I went to in school was for triple jump, whereby I just scraped by and qualified based on place. And that was a good experience. You know, I came second to last at nationals, but it was cool. Like it was so fun. But yeah, sprinting has been, I guess, especially for the past few years, my main go-to. It's just so fun, and it's just over so quickly. Yeah, and it's cool. Yeah.
No, that's some pretty big sibling rivalries. I've got a brother and sister, and you know, when in our backyard, many games of backyard basketball and cricket and what have you, and that same kind of thing with your sister as well. Did you have other brothers and sisters as well as that, or?
No. My sister Montana is the only sibling I've got.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember. Yeah, we got fairly competitive, but it made it, I guess, easier in that I was always a sprinter and she was always a long distance cross country runner. And that helped us a lot. Like we could be competitive, but sort of in our own races. And then that sort of helped us motivate each other in a way, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were never in the same events or anything like that. No.
Yeah. So she's been like a pretty big inspiration to you as well as being an older sister, and someone that sort of helped you along the way too.
Oh yeah, for sure. You know, she's, especially in the last few years, like she's whenever I'm clouded in my head, she'll always have something like to say that will sort of bring me back down to earth. Yeah, she's sort of been my like calming mechanism for the last couple of years, and I've really appreciated that.
That's so good.
Been insane, yeah.
Continuing on with the influences side of things, we spoke about this off air, and your coach Greg Cameron's been one of your biggest influences. Tell us about your relationship with Greg, how that came about, and some of the other influences along the way as well, Taylah.
Yeah, so Greg Cameron is definitely one of the biggest influences I've ever had. I joined him 3 years ago. He's been my coach ever since, and he's my grandpa, he's my therapist, he's my first aider, he's, you know, everything, you know. I can go, you know, if I'm having a bad day, he'll just sit down with me and just unpack absolutely everything. And then I just come back, just, you know, finish the session a new person. Like he's, one of a kind, truly. I don't know where I'd be without him. He's gotten me, you know, I went to him and I was probably running, we never did a time session, but I was probably running 13.6, 13.8 for the 100 meters at the time. And now, you know, I've just broken the 12-second barrier, and like, he's just gotten me so far through patience and understanding. And he obviously pushed me, but he knew my limitations and knew, you know, where I was at mentally and what I was capable of. And I guess that in turn has made me a more successful athlete. He's just, you know, if I'm having a bad day, he'll give me a call. Like, he's just, something else. He's great.
That's so good.
Yeah.
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 And outside of, we spoke about this before as well, outside of your running, you're also studying now to be a physio, and you've done vet tech as well. What other outside interests do you have as well as that, Taylah?
I guess I really like the gym. I know that goes hand in hand with running, but the gym is sort of my therapy. It's just great. Like, even if I weren't a runner, I'd probably be at the gym more. Like, it's just a great place to be, and I can just do whatever and no one cares. Like, it's just, and it makes you feel good. It's just so fun. I also here and there play piano. I was a muso in school. So, I have been trying to keep the technique up and everything like that. I don't get to play as much as I would hope to. But yeah, it sort of calms me down as well.
That's great.
It's a good hobby.
Takes your mind off the running side of things. And
definitely.
Yeah. Actually, that's a good point I was going to ask you about next, the mental aspect of running, because obviously there's just so much pressure when you come through to like a Bay Chef final when you're against the likes of Brie Masters and some of those other athletes. So how do you prepare mentally for an event like the Bay Sheffield? And do you do like meditation, or is it playing the piano? Is that your way of sort of taking your mind off things and preparing?
I'd like to say piano is, but I don't think I play enough for that. I've recently, and when I say recently, probably just before Bay, I started journaling and really listed all my goals down and explained where I'm at mindset-wise and where I want to be and how I'm feeling. Because once you get that down on paper, it's a clarity. Like, it makes you feel so much better. But I guess also remembering that it's no different to any other race, you know, whether it be a handicap race or a track race, it's no different. You know, you're in this lane, it's you v you, nothing changes. You know, you can't compromise your technique to, I guess try and win. It'll never not be you v you, essentially. Yeah, it's fun.
And mental health is such a big one at the moment. And obviously we hear it so much about athletes that are doing it tough, and AFL players, AFLW players or what have you, that have to stop playing because they've got their own issues with mental health. Do you feel as though, as an athlete yourself, there needs to be more support for present athletes, whether it be runners, footy players, whatever it might be, male and female?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure. I know there's sports psychs out there, and you can go and get your therapy and anything like that. But I think unless there's like an organization whose background is to look after these athletes, there's always going to be an issue. Like, I definitely think there needs to be more done in regards to mental health, because especially with like AFL athletes and everything like that, there's just so much pressure, and like it's banter sometimes, but also like, like when does that not turn into banter and like really start affecting someone, and they can't really say much about it
and stuff.
And they can't voice it because it's banter, but like, no, this might actually be really affecting someone, just as an example, I guess. So yeah, definitely more that can be done.
Have you experienced that yourself or witnessed it?
I guess training, I've been quite secluded in that I train by myself, and I haven't really trained with a squad or anything, so it's always only just been me or those I'm really close to. So I haven't really experienced it myself. And I guess with Greg, like he's sort of put an end to anything that I've not put an end to, he's sort of helped me get through any issues I've had or, problems or anything like that. So I think, I've come across challenges, and he's helped me to overcome them. But, nothing significant as of yet. That's not to say there's nothing bad to come, but I think support network is very, very important in that sense. Yeah.
I absolutely agree with you.
Yeah.
And the lead up to the Bay, you mentioned before you did a Port Adelaide run. What sort of other runs had you done in the lead up to the Bay?
I guess last year, so 2024 being my first ever professional season, and I was getting quite good at track at the time, and I was just constantly hitting PBs. I was doing every and any race I could get into. I was, sometimes quite often going from track on Saturdays to pros on Sundays, and, competing, every single week, doing at least 2 or 3 races a week. And I guess I did everything and anything I could enter it just because I loved it. Like, it's probably not the best for my progression, but I loved it. And I was just like, okay, let's just do whatever. And thinking back, I probably, I had that niggle on Bay Day, and if I had rested a bit more, I probably wouldn't have experienced that. And just things like that. But, you live and you learn. So I've learned that, and I probably won't go as hard this season.
And how's your 2025 going? So I know you mentioned before you're down to 12. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Amazing achievement. But how's your 2025 going so far?
It's been great. I guess the aim of 24-25 for track was just to qualify for nationals for the 100 meters. Because I hadn't done that previously. So this time last year, my PB was 12.5 something. And I didn't qualify by time for nationals. So I guess that was the main goal. The qualification standard was 12.4. So I succeeded that quite easily. Not easily as in like I did it easily, but I got quite a low number to qualify. And it just went down from there. Like, I was just... it was probably the best season ever. It's just, I'm quite lucky, I guess, essentially, to have had such a great season. I had a few niggles, but like, I was injury free. I had the support around me I needed. I was so fortunate, like, to have such an amazing season. It was just incredible. Yeah.
And what's the goals going forward? One day represent Australia in the Olympics, or
potentially? So, who knows? I guess, like, where you could end up. It's just. Yeah, I haven't even thought about it. I just did not see myself being like where I am now, I guess this time even last year. So who knows where I could end up in the future. I haven't really sat down to think about it. I think I've still been in the blur of what's been the last 6 months. But, never say never.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And you mentioned before about Sally Pearson being your idol growing up.
Yeah.
Do you feel as though now, like, you're inspiring other future athletes to do the same kind of thing as you going forward now by being a bit of a role model to them?
That would be pretty cool. I never thought I'd be in the place to do so, but, it would mean a lot to me if I could be like that to someone, because she did have quite a big influence on me growing up. And if these girls and guys looking up to me, that would be pretty special, I think. It's a pretty cool place to be in. Yeah.
And you touched on it before as well about sort of how you prepare for a race mentally. For people out there that are young, aspiring athletes like yourself, male or female, going forward, what advice do you have for those athletes? And obviously diet being a big one, no doubt.
Yeah, definitely. Just starting with diet, I think don't underestimate the power of it. Like, I only got a dietitian this time last year, and she's really helped me. Yeah, just combat, like, you don't need to be, everyone's different. Everyone's going to have different figures. You need to consume and do what's best for you. And that's, I think, the biggest lesson I've learned in, like, the past year. You don't have to be like everyone else. Like, you don't have to look like everyone else. Like, if what you're doing is working for you, then I think that's what's best for you. I guess another piece of information I have is advice. I have is if you're not uncomfortable, then you're not doing it right. I think it's important to put yourself in a position, like, in a vulnerable position, whereby, like, if you need to be susceptible to change, essentially. And if you don't change anything, you're not going to change, if that makes sense. Like, you need to, like, this time last year, I quit my job to switch clinics to better suit my running. I, got a dietitian, I got a strength and conditioning coach, I switched gyms, and those were big changes. And for the most part of last year, I was very uncomfortable. Like, it was a big change, but look at where that's put me now. So
great advice.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it's incredible. And the rest of 2025, what's it look like for you? You're going to do the Bay again this year?
Oh yeah, back for redemption.
Yep.
No, I will definitely head out there, give it a crack, see how well I can do. But mostly for the vibes. Like, the community out there is just insane. Win or lose, it's just always incredible. That's what I've loved most about the professional running. Everyone's just, there to have fun, and everyone's so lovely, and it's just incomparable. I think it's just insane. So I'll definitely be at Bay. You know, try and hit some more PBs at track, but yeah, nothing specific as of yet.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, Taylah, for our Legends Bevo Spotify playlist, what song is your go-to in the lead up to a big run and why?
That has to be Can't Hold Us by Macklemore.
Good song.
Yeah. Because, you know, no matter what mood I'm in, you know, if I'm not feeling the best and I haven't queued that song and it plays next, like instant mood change, like gets me going. I can play it at the gym. I run, I think, like on average 10% quicker when I listen to that. So add it to the playlist.
Love that. Taylah Spackman, thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me.